Hey, y'all, it's Trent on the Loose, and we are on the dawn of a new week. It's going to be an instrumental week in our life. I just sense that. But you know what else is on instrumental? You know what else there needs to be a new dawn of? People who win elections based upon the merits of what they have to offer. We need to put behind us. We need to put in the pretend that we're driving down the road and we're looking into the rear view mirror, and we see in the rear view mirror that there was a day when the people who had the most money would win the election. And now we're coming to a time when the people who have the most votes win the election. I've got two individuals joining me today that are both in the national race from the state of Nebraska. One competing against an incumbent for the U.S. Senate seat, and the other competing against another, both of these long-term incumbents in the state of Nebraska, one in the House, one in the Senate, and they don't have money. What I mean by that is they don't have $20 million. They have people that appreciate what it is that they have to say and what they feel could be accomplished. So join me as we visit with these two individuals, Dan Osborne and John Walsh, one for the House, one for the Senate, as we together will all put in the rearview mirror back in the day when the U.S. was driven by the person who had the most money to play. Trent on the Loose. We're back with more after this. Trent Loos here for my friend Greg Hager. Do you know why he has been named the Entertainer of the Year? It's because he writes his own stuff. It's because what he writes and performs and entertains will touch you in a way like very few songwriters can touch you. His country, his Christian roots come to life. Visit greghager.com for tour dates, merchandise, and book the show yourself. Use the code GREG24 for a discount. greghager.com.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
At OLS Tubs, we focus on quality ingredients to create premium, low-consumption supplements that save producers time and money. Our customers see increased profits through better conception rates, heavier winning weights, and less time and money spent on doctoring herds. OLS formulas focus on highly bioavailable trace minerals and vitamins, as well as key ingredients to improve immune response, colostrum quality, and feed conversion. Our exclusive formula propels your livestock to their full genetic potential. This is why we confidently say OLS Tubs are simply the best.
In the heart of North Dakota lies a beautiful community to live, work, and play. Beulah is surrounded by nature and just minutes from Lake Sakakawea and all that it offers. The possibilities for fun and relaxation here are boundless. It's the perfect place to find a fulfilling career, epic adventures, and a welcoming community. Life here is legendary. Plan your visit today and see what you're missing.
Folks, when it comes to crop protection, you need equipment and technology you can count on. The Apache sprayer accomplishes all of that, but you need something else. A service counter and a group of people that'll help you when you need it. Simpson Farm Enterprises at simpsonfarm.com and High Plains Apache from Mandan. They have the service, they have the equipment. All they need is your confidence. Online, simpsonfarm.com or highplainsapache.com. Welcome back, y'all. It's Trent on the Loose. We're sitting here at the pool table. John Walsh, did you bring a pool cue or anything?
I did not, but I take up the challenge, though.
Well, we're going to have to find some balls and a cue first. I'm sure we can find a challenge. By the way, you found a challenge. You are running on, I'm going to call it a very low budget for District 3 in Nebraska for Congress. And I don't say that to be insulting. I'm just saying that in today's world of multi-millions of dollars, if anybody doesn't have multi-millions of dollars, you're running on a low budget. That's crazy about running for an elected position.
Well, I tell you what, Trent, my trade is engineering, and I specialized in project management. And there's three things that you have to manage as a project manager: the budget, the schedule, and the quality. When I jumped into this race, I knew we already had a very compressed schedule. I already knew that we were going to have a very, very small budget. And so when you have a deficiency in one of those three things or multiple of those three things, in order to make up for a successful project, you have to focus on that other thing. And so the quality of the campaign is really what we're focusing on. And when I say the quality, it's not only everything about this campaign is about getting my name out very quickly and having people associate it with something that they already know. Hence the mega waltz on the logo, hence the colors on the logo, hence the guerrilla tactics that we use to get our name out. So just because we have a very small budget, just because we have a very compressed schedule, doesn't mean we can't be successful, because we are putting that extensive extra effort into the quality. And that a big part of that also is the grassroots that we're able to activate. People are so receptive of our message, and I've got people all over the state that are actively campaigning for this campaign, and we will be successful in the end. So.
And for those that are not from Nebraska, they might not know that the 3rd District pretty large and fairly conservative.
Yes. I'm told, I don't remember who told me, but a couple of people told me that the 3rd District of Nebraska, which is 80 of the 93 counties in Nebraska, is the 4th most conservative district in the United States. Like I said, I don't remember who told me. There was a couple of people that told me that. But that being said, if Nebraska, the 3rd District, is the 4th most conservative district in the United States, shouldn't we have at least the 4th most conservative representative in the United States? And so that's why I'm out here. So.
I marvel in today's world of campaigning when people talk about campaigning on conservative values and they spend $20 million to get a $140 million salary. That doesn't sound real conservative to me.
No, it does not. And it's, I'm not going to say this is true in every case, but on the whole, it's not necessarily about the salary for the position that they're going in, but the perks, if you will, that come along with that. And that, when I say perks, I'm talking about things like votes sold, tips, insider trading, things like that. And I think that's pretty obvious.
We just made a rule that elected officials in D.C. are not subject to criminal prosecution with insider trading. How can we continue to have double standards for our elected officials?
You say that, Trent. How can we go ahead and vote to renew a FISA court, but then attempt, or I don't know if they did attempt, if they succeeded in it, but to exclude Congress from any of those FISA warrants? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. How can we? But they just do it. I get so frustrated about it. I don't even know how to answer that, Trent. It's just so frustrating. It's enraging.
So we're at the point in time when we have just over 330 million Americans in the United States. Those are the legal Americans. We have a deficit that we are told that's in excess of trillion, just about $35 trillion. You do the math, it equals just at $104,000 per person. That's what every baby born today owes the federal government. What every baby born who knows when is going to owe the federal government. How do you, as one person, make a difference by going to D.C. to try to fix that?
As an individual congressman, there are certain things I think that an individual congressman can do, and it's mostly about lobbying the other congressmen, but it's got to also be about presenting this information to the public so that the public is just truly outraged about what's going on within Congress. And so for instance, let me give you a for instance here. So when Adrian Smith was in Hastings, I think it was last September, and this was long before he even thought about running for Congress, one of the things I adamantly asked him as one of his constituents, is that he introduced articles of impeachment against these federal judges that are operating as political activists from the bench. Well, the same is true for everything, whether it be spending or federal judges operating outside of their constitutional authorities, or the executive branch and that administration operating outside of their constitutional authorities. The other thing I had talked to Adrian about is I want to see, as one of your constituents, somebody that's extremely vocal. So whether you agree with these people or not, you see Nancy Pelosi on the national TV, you see Chuck Schumer, you see MTG, and you see Matt Gaetz, and you see them out in front of the camera, and they're lobbying their fellow congressmen or legislators to vote in how they want to. They're educating the public, about certain issues. Well, that's what I would expect as from my representative as one of his constituents, is to be out there in front of those cameras and to educating people, well, this is what this bill really means. This is how much money this is going to cost you. This is what's coming out of your pocket. And that's, as an individual representative, that's one thing that you can do. Lobbying your fellow representatives and educating the public so that you can motivate, again, going back to the grassroots, activate the grassroots to call their representatives to do the right thing. So,
You're also a military veteran?
I am. I served in the Marine Corps for 5 years. So.
And how do you look back upon that today?
When I was in the Marine Corps, I couldn't get out quick enough. But to give you a little story about the Marine Corps, there were 60 of us in the shop. Trying to think of how much detail I should give you here because I don't want to get lost into the conversation. I'll just be real quick. When I was in the Marine Corps was fun. We did our job. We did very well at it until Bill Clinton came into office. And then it was like flipping a light switch because he wanted all these massive cuts and everything, and everybody that wanted to serve as retire from the military, now they're all afraid about getting downsized. And so it went from you go into your shift, you work, you do the things that you're supposed to do, you get out of there at a reasonable time, to now you're going to go into your shift, you're going to sit there for 12 hours whether you have anything to do or not. And it became miserable at that time. But one thing I will say, I love the job. I love the people that I was in with. You build an esprit de corps in the military that is, it's second only to family, I would say. So I guess that's how I would define my experience. So
You didn't use the word, but you defined the word camaraderie. It's the camaraderie in making a commitment, taking an oath to the Constitution, and being willing to sacrifice whatever it takes for future generations. I say thank you, John Walsh, not only with my words, but hopefully my actions, because I was told by 4-star General Jimmy Williams, United States Marine Corps, don't give lip service to these men who have sacrificed for us. Actually follow through on the liberties and the constitutional rights that they have preserved for me, and I don't take that lightly.
I've missed what you said at the last part, Trent.
Don't take for granted, but actually exercise the rights that they have protected, that you have protected for me and everyone else.
I tell you what, I've got a lot of family, a lot of friends, and a lot of fellow Marines that have died protecting that United States flag in the name of what that flag represents. I can't even describe to you the emotions that I see when you see on the TV people out there callously burning our flag. They have no idea why that flag can still fly. they are so they have no empathy with the sacrifices that went into protecting everything that flag stands for. I guess that's about it there. So.
And by the way, that flag our founding fathers made is red, white, and blue to encompass all of us and you in the United States of America. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Sorry I didn't do very good there, but
Well, that's all in the eye of the beholder. I think you did fantastic. That's your own little issue you're dealing with. Trent on the Loose. We're back with more after this.
A North Dakota woman and her 4 kids killed by Mexican drug cartels.
Cartels see North Dakota as an emerging market.
When Mexican cartels murder North Dakotans, when the fentanyl they traffic is a death sentence, it's a North Dakota problem. I'm Tammy Miller. Joe Biden won't do his job, I will. If you're here in North Dakota, working for the cartel, let this serve as notice. When I'm governor, we will find you and bring you to justice.
Conservative Tammy Miller.
People get sick for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Your body's missing something that it needs, or it's exposed to something that it doesn't need. So if you supplement what the body's missing, the body fixes itself. If you remove from the body toxins that are interfering with the body's doing what it's normally designed to do, then the body heals itself. It's really that simple.
NO2U, that's nitric oxide, NO, number 2, letter U.com, and you put Trent as coupon code, you don't pay any shipping.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Welcome back, y'all. Trent on the Loose, and we are continuing with the theme here as the Sherman County GOP meeting has candidate forum has kind of broke up, but Dan Osborne's still here, and you are an independent.
Yes, sir.
And the theme that I was alluding to, Dan, just so that you know, is that in today's world, somebody thinks that it's a wise move for a conservative to spend $20 million campaigning to get a job that pays $150,000. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. What do you think?
It sure does not make a lot of sense. You know, the Senate is a country club full of millionaires and billionaires and self-funders. I'm not like that. I made $48,000 with a company called Grunwald last year. Paid another $6,000 in at taxes at the end of the year. I'm a working class guy through and through. I walk the walk and I talk the talk.
Okay. And you happen to be running against a U.S. Senator that 12 years ago I actually lended a bit of assistance because she professed to be a ranch woman. In fact, my brother-in-law lives 2 houses down from where she professes to live in Ballantyne, Nebraska, which she doesn't.
Nope, she doesn't.
And suddenly she's acquired a lot of wealth and didn't really have enough money to run a campaign when she started. So I don't really know what's going on in D.C., but I don't think it's representing the will of the people.
No, it is not. I think what we got going on right now is we have special interests and corporations buying our senators and Congress people, and they vote accordingly. Look, I said it during my speech, and I got proof, and this is the proof. $50 trillion has moved from the bottom 90% of Americans to the top 1%. Actually, in particular, 0.5% of the 1% since 1980. It's the biggest migration of wealth in human history. And you got to let that sink in for a little bit. And then you have to ask yourself the question, because that's what I did when I first read that. How has that happened? How is that even possible? That's happened under all of our noses and all of our watch. Well, it happens because special interests, the multinational, monopolistic corporations, they're buying our government. And they're making laws for the one that benefit the 1%, not the workers. I'm a working class guy. I've worked 60, 70, 80 hours, 7 days a week for the last 20 years. I know what it's like to strap on my boots in the morning and everything hurts. I know what it's like to try to put a Christmas on a credit card. I understand all that. And I think these people in D.C., they play around. As soon as they get their hands in the cookie jar, they play around with the money willy-nilly. And it's not benefiting the working class people of this state and this country.
So I asked John Walls the same question in the first segment, but I'm going to ask you a little more direct than I asked him. So what makes you think, Dan Osborne, that you can go to D.C. representing Nebraska and make a difference in that world that is totally corrupt?
Well, this is what I do know, Trent. I know if I don't get there, there's nothing I can do. I can't do anything from the outside. I have to do it from the inside. But with that being said, I hold no delusion that I'll be one person. But there's a really good possibility that with an Osborne victory in November, I could be the 51st swing vote in the United States Senate. And with that comes real responsibility that I'm not going to mess around with, and that comes power. People are going to be forced to work with me. People are going to want to work with me. And I think being an independent right now, normally, being an independent throughout history doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I think now it does, and it does because we're polarized, we're divided. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it devastating our communities. I think it's about time we take a page out of Jesus's book and treat others like we want to be treated.
I realize, and we need to make sure it's clear that everybody understands that elections are run by the state. Each state's in charge of managing their elections. In the state of Nebraska, as an independent, things are a little different. People don't totally understand. You're not really confined to a primary. You're campaigning for the general election. Would you walk us through how and what that means for the voters of Nebraska?
Yeah, they're not going to see my name in the primary when they go to vote. It's kind of funny. I've had people tell me they've written my name in because they didn't see me on there, which I think that's pretty good. But I have to petition to get on the ballot. I have to have 4,000 signatures. There has to be a minimum of 750 spread out between the 3 congressional districts. I have that already, but we're going to continue to petition because it's good for people to engage, especially with petitions. They sign their name to get you on the ballot. They're more apt to remember who you are. And oh yeah, I remember that guy. I helped get him on the ballot, and helps look you up and find out more about you, and that turns into votes. But right now we have enough, and I know 15 to 25% of all signatures get thrown out on ballots like that. So. But right now we have enough, but we're going to continue to get more. If I get elected to the U.S. Senate, I work for you. I work for the people. I don't work for special interests and corporations like the rest of them do. I'm not taking a dime of corporate PAC money. All of my donations, and so far I'm up to $714,000. That's individual donors of an average of $37 per donor. But this campaign is resonating with people, again, because going out and talking with people, regardless of whether you're Democrat or Republican, we're frustrated. We're all frustrated. We're feeling it in our wallets. And that's something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about working people. And that incorporates ranchers, farmers. Look, I got more in common with ranchers and farmers than Deb Fisher does. She went to Westside High School in Omaha, District 66. That's money. She married into a ranch. She tried to sue her neighbors off of land. This is who she is. You know, she takes her biggest donors are Class 1 railroads, and she votes against the Rail Safety Act. Why does she do that? Because she's been seen getting off of Union Pacific corporate jets, and they're the ones funding her campaign. Well, we had a train derailment last Sunday, a couple days ago, in Chapel, Nebraska, that could have killed an entire town. It came this close to an anhydrous plant with fertilizer. Could have blown up, killed people. Luckily, thank God, nobody was hurt. But that locomotive was flagged for repair. But the Union Pacific kept that thing going because they have to make deadlines and they have this on-time program. And they actually, I was told by a railroader, they actually have death factored into their program. Death. I gotta let that sink in for a second. They're actually accounting for people dying because they want to keep their trains running on time. I got a problem with that. And Deb Fisher doesn't, because she's going to continue to take their money and vote accordingly.
Dan, the final thing that I wanted to bring up is that I see a pattern developing in my country. And my country, in this case, would be Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska to North Dakota, the Great Plains of America, including Colorado. There is a pattern of people like yourself, like John Walls, running for office that took an oath to the Constitution and committed to sacrifice for the love of country. And in your case, he was a Marine. You got an issue with that because you come from a long line of Navy personnel, men and women, but that doesn't distract from my point. My point is that it's almost like as if people who sacrifice to contribute to the U.S. military in the name of defense are not happy with where we're at, and they're saying, my oath is still there.
Yeah, I come from a long line of servicemen and women. My mom served in the Navy too, and I didn't take that lightly. You know, it's not just something I did because my family did. It was something I did because I love this country. As crazy as this country is and can be, I still love it, and I would defend it to my last breath, even today.
We love this country on what it was, what it is, and what we are fixing to make it be again, because our founding fathers, Dan Osborne, said, we've given you a representative republic. It's up to you to keep it. Thanks for contributing to keeping it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, speaking on the founding fathers, they set it up so anybody could run for United States Senate, right? They got 3 rules. You got to be 30 years old. You got to live in the state that you're running in. You got to be a citizen of the United States. They set it up that for a reason. You don't have to be a business exec or a lawyer or a millionaire. So I want to prove to the people of Nebraska, and I want to prove to the people of the United States that a mechanic from Omaha, Nebraska can get in the United States Senate, because that's the way the founding fathers intended it to be.
We just found the solution. We've been trying to find a way to fix the problems in D.C. We got a mechanic that's going to do it. Bring it all back to work. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment. Trent, on the loose. God bless the veterans and the farmers who feed.
House here, Trent.
Hello, everyone. I'm Trent Loos. Welcome to another Live Across the Pond with my pontification partners, Andrew Henderson, Danny Buckley. Good afternoon, UK.
Good afternoon. G'day. G'day, Trent. How are you?
About time you sound like a Kiwi.
Yeah, I can pretend, can't I?
Good morning, USA, and happy St. George's Day. There you go. Didn't get that from the backroom boys either. So there you go.
Missed that one.
Yeah.
Okay, dare I ask, what is St. George's Day?
St. George is the patron saint of England.
Oh.
Okay. And I'll tell you more about that in the second half of the show when our backroom boy has sorted out the photograph I sent him so I can give you more detail on what St. George's Day is all about. There you go. So what? Oh, you got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go.
So that is the.
Looks like the badge of some
George's...
secret society that we've been hearing about.
It does. Very interesting. Now, would you believe that St. George, who is the patron saint of England, who's supposed to have slayed a dragon, is also the patron saint of Portugal, Venice, and Genoa. And those four flags are Portugal, Genoa, Venice, and England. And he slewed a dragon. Did you not know that he slew the dragon?
Slayed the dragon, did he?
Slewed or slayed a dragon. Killed a dragon, and that's what... I don't know what slewed or slayed means, actually.
No,
Slewed, I think that's where you go snipe hunting in the sloughs.
Yeah.
Is it really? So, anyway, so we celebrate this guy, and everybody's patriotic, the big red cross on, and the knights, and the Knights of the Round Table, and we celebrate St. George's Day here in the UK. It's our patron saint. And there's just one little fact that I have a problem with.
What's that then, Andrew?
He never actually lived in England. He never came to England.
Yeah, well, that seems to be problematic.
Yeah.
But par for the course.
So he's the patron. I mean, so I think he should be the new patron saint of America. Because that's the sort of thing that you'd expect to happen in America. It'd be
right.
like having a saint that's never been in America.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So
probably not.
What I'm hearing from this, guys, is that St. George is the Ireland version of St. Patrick, which is nothing close to being the truth either.
The truth.
But we celebrate it.
That's absolutely true. And my dad was George. And of course, I'm Andrew, and the patron saint of Scotland is Andrew.
No, this is taking an interesting twist.
The St. George's Day when I was a kid used to have some symbolism. It used to be quite an important day. We'd at least mark the day. Everybody talked about it. But I haven't seen any George crosses anywhere. I've not seen any patriotic.
Not one. I haven't seen one flag today. And the other thing is that
they'll cancel it out next year.
Yeah, the only time you'll see the flag of St. George now is at a football match if it kicks off, and then there's St. George flags everywhere in the crowd. It's a really weird thing. Anyway,
but here I am. I returned 10 days ago back to the UK to do some work, and so Andrew and I had arranged that I would accompany him on the day, round some of his farm customers with him, and we'd catch up. And here we are.
Both of them today.
We've been to both of his customers.
Yeah.
They're still in business.
Yeah.
And so we thought I'd come on the show as well to say hi.
There you go.
Yeah, you've been missed. I'm glad you don't have to get up at 1 a.m. in New Zealand to join us.
That was a bit tough during the week. That is fair tough call, but the week I was trying to do it for the weekends. You never know. We might be able to do something in regards to it. I might do
the show.
I could move the show.
Move the show.
Well, I could at least do a live show with you at another point, perhaps, and I can take you on farm or something. Trent, we could do something together.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
You could do it. I could even give you the name. Across the Equator.
Oh, God. Yeah, north and south. North and
You're,
south.
you're
yeah,
sharp as a
north,
tack today, St. Andrew.
yeah, or north and south.
Yeah.
North versus south.
Well, I knew something wonky was going to happen today because I don't know if you guys have the same version of the full moon that we have, but I was walking over here to the broadcast center and I had to snap a photo because this full moon is in full blur over our house at the moment. And do you all know what this moon is called? Because every full moon has an official name.
Blood or wolf moon or something, is it?
No, the blood moon and the wolf moon are in the winter. But you're on the right track, kind of. Pink moon.
The what?
Oh, pink moon.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
And it has nothing to do with the
I don't know why we
moon
didn't. I
color.
don't know why we didn't get it.
It has to do with the pink flowers that come and pop up as April showers, May flowers. That's the pink moon.
So hang on. So Trent, some guy sat in his garden sometime in America and thinks, right, we need a name for this moon. And he sees a few pink flowers in his garden. He goes, I know. We'll call it the pink moon. Is that really what caused that?
Most of the moon names go back to the American Indian tribes and tied into what the daily activities or what was taking place at the time of that moon.
And so the pink moon, you would right across the prairies, right across the grasslands, you would see that particular pink flower, would you?
Yeah, that's the legend, kind of like St. George.
So you're saying there isn't really pink flowers in Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota at this time of year?
Well, keep in mind, the moon belongs to Florida too. It's just not just in the Great Plains of America. In fact, you have the same full moon over there.
So what you're saying is that these colored moons only reside in the United States of America. Isn't that quite bizarre?
Not at all.
I don't know.
The whole world centers around the United States of America. What's bizarre about that?
Only in America. They believe that.
No.
But anyway,
US centric.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how's it in America at the moment then, Trent? What's the latest? What's happening?
What good
causes are you? Causes are you fighting?
Well, the same cause is standing up for liberty. But Andrew and I yesterday started talking about wheat. And so I actually have done more wheat research than I've done in a long time. I know for a fact at one point in time, the USDA website had that Russia produced a record amount of wheat that has never been broken in 1913. Do you believe that it's on the USDA website anymore? No, I can't find it. But what I did find, and Luke, I got a second graph if you want to pull this up. If you go look at Russia and how they benchmark their food production from wheat to all of the products, livestock, everything across there. Look at what year they benchmark everything. And I'm going to put my cheaters on, but every year they benchmark on industrial crops, livestock, potatoes, and grains. The benchmark year is 1913. And if you go down to 1921, right in the height of the greatest famine that part of the world saw, you'll see that the wheat crop was 31% of what it was in 1913. Everything in Russia in terms of their food production is based off of the calendar year 1913.
But Trent, that all makes sense because if you are a communist country or you're moving from a dictatorship to communism, the thing you have to do is be able to feed your nation. So China and Russia would always use those guides. And the thing that I want to just explain back to you, and I think you already know the answer to this, is you're not talking about the world production here. You're talking about
Russia.
Their world.
Russia.
Yeah,
it's
you're
Russia.
talking about their world record production. The other thing is that how do we know that at some point?
No. Time out before you go forward. I know for a fact the USDA reported that the largest wheat crop in history in any one given year was in Russia in 1913. It's not just a Russian wheat crop, it's a world wheat crop record. And I did look it up. The average
for that particular, okay,
No.
for a specific country, it can't be the total for the world, can it? If it was only grown in Russia, do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I
it's just
understand
for
what
that
you're saying, but you're
country.
wrong. The USDA
Oh,
reported the largest wheat crop grown in any one given year was in Russia in 1913. And if you take into consideration the average yield in that time and frame was about 13 bushel to the acre. It takes a lot of acres to make that happen. But this is when Russia was reigning in the world in wheat production. And so if you take that kind of world leader in global exports, world leader in global wheat production, and then 8 years later, they're producing 31% of the total wheat they were in 1913. There's a lesson to be had there, and we will find it on the other side of the break, live across the pond. Davey Buckley, we have pleasure joining us today. Andrew Henderson, more after this.
I think when it comes to this climate change hoax, everybody's kind of been avoiding the conflict. Like, well, if we just do this, they'll leave us alone and we can do what we want. Well, now we have to do this, and then they'll leave us alone. Once we figure this out, then we got it solved, and it's never the case. And the conflict keeps multiplying because we're avoiding the conflict. Those are the conversations that need to get had, is not what can we do to make this go away, but what can we do to just let people know that we're not afraid of this conflict, we're not afraid of arguing it, and we're not afraid to stand for what we believe in.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagaguia in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Trent Loos here for my friend Greg Hager. Do you know why he has been named the Entertainer of the Year? It's because he writes his own stuff. It's because what he writes and performs and entertains will touch you in a way like very few songwriters can touch you. His country, his Christian roots come to life. Visit greghager.com for tour dates, merchandise, and book the show yourself. Use the code GREG24 for a discount. greghager.com.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Folks, when it comes to crop protection, you need equipment and technology you can count on. The Apache sprayer accomplishes all of that, but you need something else. A service counter and a group of people that'll help you when you need it. Simpson Farm Enterprises at simpsonfarm.com and High Plains Apache from Mandan. They have the service, they have the equipment. All they need is your confidence. Online, simpsonfarm.com or highplainsapache.com.
Look, so see these cows here, Trent.
Welcome back, Trent Loos, Andrew Henderson, Damian Buckley joining us for the next 10 days.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
next 10 days.
I was wondering if you're going to catch that.
Trent, I've had a look, and I want to just explain something to you. Currently, we produce 785 million metric tons of wheat per annum worldwide. From 1876 to 1913, the annual metric tonnage equivalent, right, was 38 million tons worldwide. So what I'm saying to you is it might be a record bushel weight on a field, but it's not the record of amount of wheat produced by the world. Do you understand what I'm
You're
trying to say?
comparing apples to oranges in this situation. I'm talking
No,
about
well, and
Russia's
also-
wheat crop. You've had more countries get into the wheat production business. So it obviously we're going to produce more total, but from one country, the Russian yield in 1913 has never been matched. That's what the USDA reported.
That is fact. No, that's it. That. No, I agree with. So that's not the world's biggest wheat crop. It's just the biggest wheat crop in Russia.
And what was that? What was that built on? That was built on the yield, was it?
Total bushels. It was total, not average.
Yeah,
it was total bushels.
So
by the way, do you think they've taken it off the USDA website because
I don't know.
Don't want anything positive about Russia to be shown? And I'll explain why.
I don't know because I clearly remember it being in a historical perspective. It was like a chart in this history of U.S. agriculture, and it just this one blip. It was like in 1913, Russia, with the technology that was available, had the largest wheat crop in the world that we've ever had in any country.
Areas growth.
Yeah,
Massive
it was
areas.
total acres because the average bushel was like 12 bushel the acre.
Ukraine at that time, but the other thing that's interesting is that Russia. We talk about your cost per kilowatt hour of electricity. Ours is sat at. I think yours is at 12 to 16 cents. I know some of you can buy it at 8 cents, but
I'm at 9. The national average is 15.
Okay, well, our here in the UK, ours is 40 cents. By the way, ours is one of the highest in Europe. But through all of and this has all been taken down, but through all of the sanctions, through Ukraine and the European Union and America, where do you think Russia's kilowatt hour price is?
I bet it's pretty low.
I've got the chart.
I bet it's pretty low. Yeah.
€6, 6 cents equivalent. So that is propaganda right there, isn't it, Trent? When you look at if you've got that advantage in manufacturing and cost, we need to watch out because all of this money that we're plowing into Ukraine and various other parts of the world, and you in particular in the United States of America, it's really patching up a very big imbalance between the potential of your country versus countries like Russia. So that's why I believe the Western world is pushing for World War III. That's where I think that shows it more than everything that they've got us competitively. So we have to do something about them.
So I want to finish
That's an interesting
that period, and then we'll get to where we're at today, because we showed the graph from 1913 to ultimately 1917. Damien was talking about it during the break. Up to 10 million people starved in Russia in that point in time because of the famine.
Yeah.
But farmers, proving that we're just not independent in nature today. In fact, we're less independent in nature today than we have been in the history of the world, in my opinion. But that's an opinion. In the mid-19 teens in Russia, the government was coming to take whatever we all know about the Bolshevik Revolution, and the peasants that said, we vote to join, we will be comfortable instead of stand for independence. It's reported that 50% of the livestock was killed on farms by the farmers because they did not want the government to seize and have possession of their animals. No parallel there, is there?
Are you alluding to the fact that history is repeating itself?
Yeah, the game plan's the same.
Oh, it's not over. Wait. On the 18th, no, excuse me. Yeah, the 18th. That was what, last Thursday? In California Assembly, Senate Bill 2528, which is renewing the Williamson Act of 1965 in California, where the Williamson Act was there was a dispute over the amount of property tax paid. And so what the government and the state government in California did was come up with a way to reimburse the farmer or the landowner for their property tax just to pay them to let it set idle and take it out of food production because they wanted to mitigate water use and climate practices. Well, guess what? Last week, Senate Bill 2528 is a renewed visit to 500,000 acres of California farmland that they want to protect the water spaces and pay farmers to put solar panels instead of food production.
We just came from a farm where the farmer was telling us that they're actually offering him money to plant and culture birds, i.e., allow the production of bird seed on his acreage.
And there is a suggestion I read in I think it's Farmers Weekly here, that I think it's roughly 12% less tonnage, grain tonnage expected because of that movement. I know they've had a very poor winter. I know they've had a very poor spring to get their spring crops in or to try and replace failed winter crops. But the acreage is well down because you're being paid to grow and take land out of circulation for 2 or 3 harvests. You have to make the commitment to them, and in turn they're paying you. And I've seen loads. I've got friends who are arable farmers who are just taking the money. They're putting a third of their income, a third of their land into receiving a government payment.
He who controls food controls you.
Controls the people, yeah.
But,
and you know, there's another thing going back to energy costs. Just one more thing before I forget. Ratcliffe-on-Soar is the last remaining coal-fired power station here. It's only as old as me. It's modern in most practices. That its last week is next week, and then they've sold all the coal that was there in the massive mountains, and they're closing it down and they're blowing it up so that they can create a green industrial zone on a power station which was nowhere near it in its prime of life. So suddenly we don't have that base load of coal fire now. We're now reliant on nuclear when it's working, and then renewables, and then pipes from everywhere else in Europe for electricity. It's again, energy control screwed.
Yeah, the movement to the supposed green brings about black. That's what end result is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does. It's green is black.
So I wanted to
absolutely spot on.
I wanted to come up with my summary on what's something that I was trying to figure out. And what I was trying to figure out was that, you know, that I've been whining, and actually more than whining, 8 years ago started working on property tax relief in Nebraska, where it's a serious problem. There's now a movement afoot to eliminate property tax and move to, I'm going to call it a consumption tax. North Dakota has the same initiative. I had a friend of mine, a county commissioner in Montana, call and say they have the same initiative. And when I get 3 states that are talking about the same initiative, I'm like, whoa, all the same time at the same initiative, somebody's planting a seed here. And then when I saw what California had done to alleviate an ever-growing tax problem, we're going to pay you to take this land out of production to help you with your property taxes. That's the hook to get what Damien just described for us, to get land out of production, is that you can't afford those property taxes. We're going to help you pay your property tax. Oh, by the way, you're going to remove that from food production. This is happening not just incrementally, at a pretty accelerated rate all around the world.
Trent, who is orchestrating this? Is it coming out of Aspen Institute? Why is there a lockstep? Where does the documentation for the idea come from? Has to come from a centralized source. Surely.
We saw it in our own parliament the other day, and we saw it in your Senate the other day. These people waving Ukrainian flags. These people are all in on this. And who is the piper?
Yeah.
Who's the piper? Who's the piper?
So I don't know who planted that seed, but Damien, that homework assignment will be taken upon guidance. We'll go find it. Because when you have one or two states doing something, but when you start having a series of states that all have the same kind of an MO and what they need to accomplish, you're absolutely right. There's somebody behind it.
Yeah, there is, without any shadow of a doubt.
But it seems like we are unquestioning of it, and everybody just seems to be accepting it, and then the media never carries it, and so forth. It's happening everywhere you look. It's happening by stealth.
But I understand why it's happening, Damien, because we are feeling massive pain with our property tax burden. And so when somebody comes to us and says, we're going to get rid of your property tax problem, that's not going to be a problem. We'll just charge everybody a consumption tax and everybody will pay a fair share. So it's easy to jump at that because our property taxes have now become unsustainable. But I'm just going to give you and I know Luke's going to jump in here pretty quick. No, I'm not going to do that. We'll do that tomorrow. But anyway, Damien, great to have you back.
Yeah, no, you'll see me soon. You'll see me again
in about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
in Nebraska. We have completed our journey with Damien Buckley, Andrew Henderson, live across the pond, regaining control for the farmer, who ultimately gains control for the consumer. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
At OLS Tubs, we focus on quality ingredients to create premium, low-consumption supplements that save producers time and money. Our customers see increased profits through better conception rates, heavier winning weights, and less time and money spent on doctoring herds. OLS formulas focus on highly bioavailable trace minerals and vitamins, as well as key ingredients to improve immune response, colostrum quality, and feed conversion. Our exclusive formula propels your livestock to their full genetic potential. This is why we confidently say OLS Tubs are simply the best.
People get sick for two reasons and two reasons only. Your body's missing something that it needs, or it's exposed to something that it doesn't need. So if you supplement what the body's missing, the body fixes itself. If you remove from the body toxins that are interfering with the body's doing what it's normally designed to do, then the body heals itself. It's really that simple.
NO2U, that's nitric oxide, NO2U.com, and you put Trent as coupon code, you don't pay any shipping.
In the heart of North Dakota lies a beautiful community to live, work, and play. Beulah is surrounded by nature and just minutes from Lake Sakakawea and all that it offers. The possibilities for fun and relaxation here are boundless. It's the perfect place to find a fulfilling career, epic adventures, and a welcoming community. Life here is legendary. Plan your visit today and see what you're missing.